Welcome to this video on what's new for GitHub Copilot in Visual Studio Code 1.120 that was released in May 2026. Follow me along as I demo new features. Enjoy! The Agent Companion app was introduced a few versions ago and was only available in the insiders version of VS Code. Now it's available in the stable version of VS Code, meaning that everybody can use it on a day-to-day basis. The companion app can be accessed by this button here at the top, Open in Agents. There are several other ways to open it, but this is the most easy way. And by doing so, it will open it up directly in the repository that you are working in. So this is the Agents app, and I was working on something else at the same time. So I'll let that continue, but normally it would land in the repository that you're in. And it would allow you to start a new session. As you can see, it looks like a lot like VS Code, but actually it's a whole new wrapper around the VS Code engine, and it is focused on agentic work. As you can see here, in the middle, we have the input window. That is the chat window that we're used to. At the left-hand side, there is something totally different, which is the fact that you can switch between different repositories, and that is what makes this app so great. Keep in mind that this app only works for CLI sessions and coding agent on github.com. It doesn't work for regular local sessions. If I switch back to VS Code, I'm currently here in a local session, but as you can see, I have a Copilot CLI and a cloud option. Copilot CLI will run on the CLI that you will need to have installed, and cloud means it runs on github.com on Actions infrastructure. Going back to the Agents app, at the left-hand side, we see repositories. So in this case, we see a repository that I'm currently working on, Copilot IDE features. There is the Writebuddies demo that I usually use for demos, and you can take a look at more sessions. So that's plus 21 more, that's more sessions in the same repository, and plus 3 more workspaces, meaning that's other repositories or folders or whatever workspace. There's a lot more going on here. You can see the customizations here. They apply to the current repository. So I can open this up and it will show you the agent customizations window. You're used to that from the VS Code app, the regular VS Code app. And on the right-hand side, you see the files inside of the current repository, and you can see changes that have been made by the agent. Currently, I have a new session, so there's no changes, obviously, but once it starts making changes, you will see them appearing there in the changes view. Keep in mind that when you work with the CLI, it will work either in a workspace or in a work tree. Workspace is called folder here. That will mean it will make the changes right in your workspace folder. If you choose work tree, it will use a Git work tree, meaning it uses a different folder and a different branch, just like the coding agent does. And that takes care of isolating changes so they don't conflict with any changes you're making, for example, in a local session in VS Code. So I have this session going on, and as you can see, this is one of the features I would like to show you. I'm currently in a new session, but I can see from my session list that this session is asking me for approval to run something. I can click directly here on approve, but because my screen resolution is still a bit hard to see, you can hover over it and then you will see what's happening here, but I'd rather click here to have the full context. It wants to run some Python. I've reviewed this. I'll click allow, and that will run it, and then it continues. In the meanwhile, I can start a new session in a different repository and just ask a question. For example, introduce the plain color to the plain object. Let me add their property so it's really clear. The plain color property to the plain object. And let's see what model we're going to use for this. Seems like a rather simple change. Let's use the GPT-5.3 Codex model. It's going to do this in a work tree, like I said. Here you see main, but we can commit it to a different repository. Oh, sorry, to a different branch. I'm gonna kick off this, and in the meanwhile, my other session came up with another approval. I can just click allow. Of course, I would need to review this. I'll allow that, and now I have 2 sessions working for me at the same time, and I can switch back and forth. So yeah, you can have a lot going on here, meaning sometimes it's always a little bit confusing if you have a lot of sessions and to keep track of all of them. But at least it is possible. Again, another approval. That's for a PowerShell command. Let's let it continue. And let's see what happened here. So in this case, it's telling me, hey, you have some uncommitted changes in your repository, and it wants to know if these changes should be introduced in the new work tree it's creating. In this case, I want to do that. So I'll use the default copy changes, and then we'll create an isolated work tree for me and start working on that. Yeah, let's wait for it to finish implementing this feature, and then I want to show you something else. I can already introduce it. So here at the top hand side we have the tasks menu. Well, it's a button and a menu. You can expand this, and you see that I have 2 tasks configured to run the front end and the back end to be able to verify the implementation. To be able to do this and to have these tasks, you can just use the tasks you might be used to in VS Code. So if we switch back to VS Code, I can show you what I have there. In the VS Code folder, there is a tasks.json, and there is 2 tasks going on here. Run backend, which is a shell command that cds into the right folder and then runs .NET Run. And for the front end, we cd into a folder as well, and then it runs npm. So it's as easy as that. And going back to the agents app, we can even configure it from here. So I can click add task, and then would enter the different arguments, so the name and the command, and then it would add it to this list and also to the tasks.json. And now, because of a local issue, I had to redo this demo. That's why you see this demo twice, but in the end it worked out, and that is what it is all about. So it was able to add the color to the plain model. As you can see here on the right hand side in the changes view, you see that it committed the changes to a different branch, and you can see the branch by pulling out the branch changes menu. As you can see, it creates a branch agents/add plain color backend. I can now commit those changes, or commit, they are already committed, but I can create a pull request that will merge to the main branch. So this is really a different way of working, because normally the changes you would apply to the branch that you have open at that moment when you're working locally with VS Code. But now, because it uses the CLI on the background and we have chosen to work in the work tree, it adds these changes to a different branch. I can also mark as done, then nothing is committed, and then the session is marked as done, and same happens if you click this button, and then it will be not visible anymore in your active sessions list. This covers just the tip of the iceberg of this feature. I would certainly recommend you to dive into this. There's a lot of documentation already on the code.visualstudio.com website, and it has a load of features. So check it out, and I hope you like this new companion app. In Visual Studio Code 1.117, the Bring Your Own Key feature was introduced for Business and Enterprise, previously only available for Copilot Pro and Pro Plus. Bring Your Own Key feature means that you can host the models that you use yourself, or at least part of it, part of the models, either through a cloud provider like Azure or AWS, or a dedicated hosted provider, or you can host them locally on your own machine. I have a Kimi K2.6 model that is hosted on Azure, and I would like to show you some enhancements that have been made. So I will do a simple prompt to get it to work for me. And while it's busy, I would first like to highlight the fact that now, and I can't show it easily, but the models are now grouped by provider. So most of my models are Copilot models, but if you have other models, like I have one hosted on Azure, you can see it now because of the gray Azure word here. The other ones have Copilot. And if your list is longer, you will see that groups start appearing. So they are separated by group. If I go to the model manager, here I can see that it's grouped, like it's below here. Another thing you can configure, and I can't because the Kimi model doesn't have any thinking effort settings, but if you have a model, in this case GPT 5.4 mini, you can configure thinking effort here. That is now also available for the bring your own key models. But again, my model doesn't have any thinking effort setting, so I can't configure it. Another thing, and for that we need to run it, and we did. So here at the bottom you can see the context window, and previously the bring your own key context window view showed 0%, and now that is also included. So you can actually see how much of the context it uses. So this is the, in this case, it's 32K, and you can see the composition of the context it uses. So these are the updates for the Bring Your Own Key experience. I'm afraid that this feature is really hard to demo, but I would like to show you nevertheless what it can do. So there is a new setting that we can switch on, which is the compress output enabled. If we switch this on, as you can see, the certain tools you run, or tools or commands you run in the terminal can return a lot of content, a lot of information. And this presses, of course, on the number of tokens that you have to spend to get that. So what Copilot can do is it can post-process this data to reduce the pressure it puts on your token and context window. I have been trying to see if I could reproduce something to show you what was happening and if it had any impact, but it turns out it's really hard. But at least you know about this feature. I would certainly switch it on. The other thing I would like to show you in the terminal is that it now, and this is experimental feature, so it might sometimes not work completely correctly, but if I would ask it now to use the terminal to show me the files and folders in the current directory. So because this is going to run in the terminal, there's always a certain risk when running something in the terminal. So, and in this case, of course, it's not going to ask me for consent. But if it would ask me for consent, it now does a risk assessment of what the risk would be of running it in the terminal. And apparently this was no risk, but let's see if we can do something with risk. Use the terminal to remove the readme.md file. And of course this is a risk because it would mean I would lose my readme.md file. And as you can see here right below the command, you can see delete readme.md, irreversible consequence. So this is the risk assessment that is done based on what code or what shell commands are in that box. So that helps you to determine if you would allow that or not. I think it's really a cool feature because I see a lot of people just clicking away, allowing stuff. And now there is at least something that helps them to consider the risk of a certain shell command.